I'm also just a girl standing in front of a boy, asking him to love her.
Cinema is a mirror of society, and it reflects societal norms and changes. Lately I noticed we don't see the rom-com magic in rom-coms anymore like there was in 90s and 2000s. Why there are no more movies like 10 Things I Hate About You or When Harry Met Sally? Is love dead, and so is rom-com genre together with it? In this video, we will explore how modern dating culture, social media, and the film industry itself have contributed to the death of romantic comedy and whether it can be ever revived. Hello everyone, my name is Daria, and on the channel I talk about movies, current trends, and fashion. And if you're new here, then don't forget to like and subscribe. So if you've been here before, you might have noticed that my background has changed, and that's for the reason that I moved to a new place. And also I've gone through a breakup. So this video has been quite personal for me while I was researching for it. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Why are we going through what some are calling a loneliness epidemic? According to recent statistics, the average European still has around 4 to 5 close friends. However, we now spend only 3 hours per week with our friends, a stark decline from the 6 hours per week we spent together just a decade ago. One reason for this connection is that seeing other people became a luxury. Like, even among my friends and me, we are often finding ourselves at each other's places and cooking dinners at home because it is expensive to go out and pay for cocktails and for dinners and then possibly even order an Uber home. And more of that, people are just very busy. People have very packed schedules, and it's just becoming like another to-do list to plan something with somebody. As Deist writes, we're living in an era of convenience, and sometimes making friends can feel inconvenient, even if we know it's ultimately worth it. Despite this, in a recent survey, around 60% of people said that the friendships are more important to them than any other relationship in their life, even romantic ones. This brings us to the next important point, modern dating. If you have heard of the trends like princess treatment, if you wanted to reboot, or women in male fields, or you have been ghosted or found yourself in a situationship, you're very likely currently in your dating era and familiar with dating culture. It's a cycle of unmet expectations and frustrations for many young people, and adding to that frustration are dating apps. With the death of the third places and many people hanging out less and less with each other, it's became natural that dating apps is the only way for many people to meet their other half. But because dating apps were actually made for profits and commodifying the relationship, it's no wonder they actually intensify the feeling of disconnection. And many people started feeling the dating apps fatigue. As The Guardian writes, everyone is so flaky when you need someone through an app. You have no loyalty to that person. They don't know your friends, they don't know work with you, so it's all too easy for them not to follow through on promises. It's not just the dating apps that are creating our experiences and ideas of love, but also what we see on screen, like movies and social media. And there we see an almost perfect, idealized version of love. And that brings us to idea of hyperreality and hyperlove. Hyperreality is a term introduced by French sociologist and philosopher Jean Baudrillard in his book Simulacra and Simulation in 1981. Hyperreality is an ability of our consciousness to distinguish what is real and what is a simulation of real. So when we see something on the screen, in the movies, or in social media, we start perceiving it as a reality. Rom-coms have always shown an idealized version of a relationship, following certain tropes like love at first sight, the pretty girl choosing the nice guy, and will they one day.
Love from the first sight. Love from the first sight? Well, I guess if private Megayat is inside, then yes. But honestly, all these writers and poets have been writing about love, and where did it get them? All of them died depressed, and some of them also poor.
These storylines might be entertaining to watch, but they often paint an unrealistic picture of relationships, suggesting that love should always feel magical and effortless, leaving little room for the day-to-day work that relationships require. For example, if you're good looking but come from underprivileged environment, significantly older, richer guy might be your only ticket to a great life, instead of education and hard work, so that you can actually meet that same guy on the equal steps. And if your partner is not chasing you through the airport in the last possible moment to tell you they love you, instead of communicating their feelings all alone, are they even the one? Over time, the tropes began to feel out of touch, and together with skepticism online about modern dating, the interest to the rom-com became lower altogether. If rom-coms planted the seeds of hyperreal love, social media turns romance into performance, leaving little room for authenticity. When we see other people's well-curated relationships online, we start comparing our everyday struggles to someone else's polished perfection, and as a result, it breeds doubt and dissatisfaction. It's important to mention that as we move away from the unrealistic ideals of love and the ideals that, by the way, no longer serve us, we are seeing that the cultural shift is not only reason why rom-coms have faded away, it's also the changes in the movie industry itself. The studios now prioritize superhero movies along with reboots like Ghostbusters and sequels and TV shows adaptations because they sell well and generate more revenue. So, as always, it's also about the money and not only the people. And as a result, this kind of projects win over from the mid-budget projects like romantic comedies, and together with the cultural shift and the outdated tropes, and audiences being tired of outdated tropes from romantic comedies, the rom-coms have struggled to adapt. But can the romantic comedies still be revived? Take the success of Nobody Wants This, a TV show that was released on Netflix in the end of the last year, and it resonated with audience by showcasing a healthy communication in a relationship as well as a dive in a bit into the world of modern dating. It gained big popularity among fans, and some even say has revived the rom-com genre by leaning into the messy but realistic dynamics of modern love and dating. This shift reflects a growing demand for stories that embrace the complexity of modern relationship and show them as they are, imperfect, challenging, and requiring communication. I think the romantic comedies are not dead. They're just waiting to be reinvented.
But you
Right
will.
now I can't.
But you will. You know, you will think of things, and I'll get bored with you and feel trapped because that's what happens with me.
Okay.